What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down what smaller receivers should be focusing on when they're watching film, what they should be looking for when they're watching professionals, guys at the top of their game, to help their own game improve, just some of the techniques that you can use to get separation, to make catches in traffic, and do all the hard things that maybe a bigger receiver would have an easier time doing, okay? And now also, guys, if you want to get better at reading defenses, so you're on the same page as your quarterback, you understand coverages because that allows you to sit in coverage, sit in the holes against zone, know when it's man, know when you're probably most likely getting a ball, when there are going to be holes in a coverage. Check out that link in the description that says learn how to read defenses. Get access to 70 plus NFL defensive breakdowns plus 4 new breakdowns every single week on just all defensive concepts and offensive plays that will beat those concepts. All right, I hope to get you guys signed up on that. So now, first thing I want to talk about here is when we're a smaller guy, restacking a DB is so essential because we're obviously probably going to have the quickness advantage when we're a smaller guy, okay? So let's watch this thing full speed. So jab, work to restack, get on top, jab to the inside, then accelerate out, okay? So, or the sudden stick, violent head and shoulders to the inside. So off the line of scrimmage here, he sets him up pretty good because this move is really violent with his upper half, and you see how much his upper half is turning, right? But that's not what we're mainly going to focus on. We're going to get to that later in the video, and we're going to talk about how you guys can make better catches in traffic and just what you can do to get separation mainly is the focus. So when we burst up field here, you see because we're the smaller guy, I can never lean myself back. I can never lean my chest back because that's going to make me slow. And if this bigger DB gets hands on me, he's going to be able to knock me off this route, right? So I got to make sure that I'm always in a good explosive pad level position to where I can rip through. Now you see how when he comes off the line here, he kind of dips that inside shoulder here. Not a whole lot, but he dips it just a little bit. The reason why he dips it is so he can work to restack and get this DB to trail him, right? So this position right here, that's where he's restacking this DB. The DB is watching his back hip. Now, when he's watching his back hip, we got to know this as receivers. When I make this move to the inside, I really got to focus on moving my whole body. So you see how he makes this break to the inside here, and I want you to look at his upper half. How much his upper half is turning, how sudden his feet are. He's not reaching for this cut. It's just right in stride, and his upper half is what's going to get this DB to lean, right? Because he's not going to be looking at our feet. Everybody loves to reach out for this big cut, and then they pop their chest up and they lean back, right? But if I'm sudden with my feet, I just need to be explosive because that's the only way I can slow myself down when I'm running full speed to a corner. But my upper half turning to the outside is what's going to get me a lot of separation, okay? That's what will get me some space. I go here, sudden stick to the inside, and now smaller receivers, we got to use our quickness, we got to use our speed to our advantage. And if you're a smaller guy who maybe isn't as fast, I suggest you need to improve your speed because if you're a slower, smaller guy, you're really not going to be able to play at a high level, right? You look at all the shorter guys that make it to a higher level that are successful, they all have some kind of speed or some kind of quickness, okay? And not even necessarily like 40 speed, just game quickness, game speed, being able to create separation, okay? And a lot of that comes from speed. So that's one of the things that I get that question a lot, and it's like, well, you need to work on it. Speed is something that you can improve, okay? So now, when we're in this situation, like that brings me to my point, I want to use my speed to my advantage. I got to make sure I keep accelerating out. If you're a smaller guy, I can't get separation here and then just kind of cruise and jog because he's already bigger than me, right? So let's make sure I widen this gap and make it easier on my quarterback, and I continue to accelerate out. I continue to run my arms, and then this is a lot of space right here. That's about 5-6 yards of space. That's a really good job by this receiver. I believe his name is Casey Martin. Let's watch it full speed again. Come over the top, restack, jab to the inside, accelerate, and run those arms out. That's a great route here. Okay, so now we're going to be taking a look at Switzer here. So outside leverage DB, let's watch it again. Let's watch it full speed. So he tacks that midline, gets him breaking to the inside, then works this square cut at the top. Now we're going to talk about how we need to have quick feet at the top and be physical at the top of the route, okay? And how attacking leverage is important for smaller guys. So why does he stem this thing outside, right? He's got to work, he's got to run an out route. So why wouldn't he just take this thing up right now, hope the DB runs with him, then try to swat him by? Because we want to get him on the defensive, get him in a back pedal, but also try to get him to really commit to an inside move. So I attack this midline off the line of scrimmage, right? I'm attacking his midline, and he's on this back pedal, trying to keep that leverage, trying to get out of there. And now he's going to give this pressure step to the inside. Now, when we give this pressure step, you look what this DB does. He opens up that hip and is thinking he's playing an inside route, right? Because everything about this looks like he's going to be here, break it up field, and then break this thing off and just run a dig across the middle. And that DB does not want to give that up, especially when he's in like this off-man scenario, right? So he's here, breaks this upfield, gets that DB to turn his hips. Now, when we break down here, we're selling like we're going to the inside. Break down, stick to the outside. And you see, again, smaller guys. My head and my shoulder movement is super important to get this DB to turn. And I'm sticking this thing. We call it a square cut. So a square cut is where you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Taking 5 steps here, you break down, then you stick to the outside. You drop your hips, stick to the opposite direction that we're trying to go. Okay, so now you see here he's swatting his DB's arm off too. That DB's got hands. We got to be really physical with my hands as a smaller guy. Got to stay in a good explosive pad level position. And then again, what does he do here? We're not open yet. I got to make sure that I continue to accelerate out. I pump my arms and I continue to run, because you see how this DB's got his head down. He's in oh shit mode. He got beat. We got to continue to get space, right? We already have the advantage immediately off the line of scrimmage because we know where we're going. DB doesn't. So let's take advantage of that. Let's run out of the break. Okay, let's watch this thing full speed one more time. Coming off here, stem to the outside, push up field, head and shoulder movement, accelerate out. This very crafty route there by Switzer. So now we're going to talk about not too much about the release here, but we're going to talk about how we can win with a catch in traffic, a catch over the shoulder as a smaller guy. Okay, so let's watch this play. Here's Tyreek Hill. So coming up top, late hands, right? Late hands anytime there's a catch in traffic, and we're going to talk about why. So you see he works this release off the line of scrimmage here, 5 quick feet. DB does a pretty good job playing it. Now, he knows here, because we're looking back with my eyes for this ball, that the ball's probably coming, right? But he doesn't know if the quarterback's releasing it late. He doesn't know if the quarterback released it right now. He doesn't know when the ball's going to land, right? So how I take care of a guy like this when I maybe don't have a whole lot of separation as a smaller guy is I got to understand the concept of having late hands, especially when you're in traffic, especially when you're catching this thing over the middle, over the shoulder, whatever it might be. I know this is a little bit different of a situation. This is like a back shoulder throw, but you see how Tyreek Hill doesn't put up those hands till about the last second. See, he's not going here, shooting his hands up high and trying to go high, catch this thing out way in front of his body. He's letting this thing get inside of his frame, so when he does catch it, this DB is less likely to rip this thing out, right? Same thing, like let's say this quarterback put it over the shoulder, right? And this DB's trailing on his back hip. I don't want to show my hands and show him way up high, because all this DB's going to do is just rip those hands and play through those hands. And that's what's going to cause this ball to be incomplete. But because I'm late with my hands and I let it get inside my frame like this, DB's not able to make a play. I'm able to get 2 feet down. So let's say another situation. Let's say he's running a dig over the middle, right? And let's say this DB's on the left hip. We're coming over the middle, same thing. He doesn't know when the ball's coming, so I don't want to stick my arms out. Like, again, imagine like he's running a dig. I don't want to stick my arms out and try to catch this thing way out in front of my body. And that's something that a lot of people have been taught to catch this thing with your hands, right? And that's one of those things where it's just not to let the ball bounce off your shoulder pads. But you watch a lot, like pretty much any NFL receiver, when they're coming over the middle like that, their hands are later. Right? They're not showing their hands early. They're waiting for that ball almost to the last possible second, pop, and then shoot their hands up, and they catch this thing because they know it's so dangerous over the middle with a guy playing their hands. They don't want to let anybody play their hands, especially when it's man coverage like this, because if you show your hands too early, the ball's going to be incomplete, and that's on you if the quarterback puts it right on the money. Okay, so let's watch this thing full speed again. In traffic, over the shoulder, my hands got to be late when I'm in a man coverage situation like this. So he comes off, bursts up vertical, late hands, let this thing get inside my frame. That's a great route here, or great job by Tyreek Hill. So now we're going to talk about range, okay? Now this might not be this is a good example of range. I wouldn't consider him to be a small receiver, right? But it's the same kind of concept. So we're going to look at this kind of like diamond release off the line of scrimmage here, and he's working this slant route, right? So what's this diamond? Like if you're a smaller guy and you got a DB who's inside leverage and you got to run a slant, right? Obviously we can't just run right into him. We got to set him up outside. So we got to take 3 steps to the outside here. But what I want you to see with this receiver, what he does here is when he takes his 3 steps, he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's like he makes a double move at the top, which is just an easy. He goes 1, left, right, left, right, left. Okay, this one kind of skids in the ground. He almost kind of like hesitates off of this leg, but that's like kind of the same idea what I'm trying to get at here. But the main thing that I want to focus on, I'm not going to talk too much about the feet, is I want you to see the range that he's in right here, right? Because when he comes off the line of scrimmage, he doesn't cover himself. He's not coming here and he's not running straight at this DB to allow this DB to get hands and allow him to knock him off this route. He's getting a little bit wider than him, right? They call this range. He's understanding the range because this is a position where that DB's either got to sit flat with no hands and be very disciplined and watch these hips, or he's got to come at him, right? So one of the two. And if he comes at him, we just swat his arm by, and then I take this slant. But because he's here and he's trying to be disciplined and just watch those hips, he opened up that gate with his hips, because there comes a point where a DB can't just shuffle with you. And even if he does shuffle with you, like this guy kind of does, he opens up his hip a little too much. But let's say he does just shuffle with you and stay square, he's going to be watching your hips. So if I take care of him with good head and shoulder movement and my feet are sudden, I could accelerate up to the inside. So that's the power of range. And small receivers got to understand that. I'm in this range, jab to the outside, get him to turn those hips. I don't cover myself, and I accelerate off this break. Let's watch it full speed one more time. So coming off here, stay in that range. Give him a 1-2 after the diamond, 5 steps total. That's a great route there. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, guys. Please leave in the comments any questions you guys have. I will make sure to get back to you, and I'll see you guys next time.